This is my KSV, or concatenated style video. Today we'll be focusing on ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. This is the first part of a two-part series, so we'll call it part 1. The ancient Egyptians were centered around the Nile River in northern Africa. The Nile River was a source of water and rich farmland. Ancient Egyptians were also very smart people and invented a lot of things. Here's to list a few of the wonderful inventions. They invented the first method of time traveling. Time telling. Not time traveling, that would be cool. It's basically a stick in the sand. They also believed to invent the first wheel, which is basically a log used to move heavy things. The ancient Egyptians were very descriptive in how they described their life, which gave us a good glimpse of how their life was before. They wrote it in their pyramids, which is the most famous for. We know the most about ancient Egyptians than any other ancient culture in the world. But imagine being a scribe and having to memorize all those hieroglyphics. The most commonly used number is 700 hieroglyphics. That's way more than the English alphabet. But there are also higher numbers. For example, 7,000 hieroglyphics if you include all variants. Scribes had to memorize all of this by writing it over and over again on an erasable board until they got it right. So how will you understand this? By watching this video, you're not going to learn 7,000 hieroglyphics. Well, I'm not going to teach you all of that, but I'm going to teach you the basic structure of how hieroglyphics work. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be able to understand how it works and understand that it's much different than English. But first, you also have to understand where we got the hieroglyphics and how we know what they mean. It's because of this amazing discovery, the Rosetta Stone. In 1799, it was discovered by a group of Napoleon troops on British soil. It was later given to the British. It contained 3 languages: Demotic, which is a cursive version of hieroglyphic, which you'll be learning about later. Also contained hieroglyphic, which was the traditional hieroglyphic form that you probably know, and Greek. This was the key for the ancient scholars because they already knew how to read Greek. All they had to do was decipher the rest. It was written 3 times the same thing in 3 different languages. If it weren't for the discovery of the Rosetta Stone, we wouldn't know as much as we know today, and it would be indecipherable by the scholars. There were 3 types of hieroglyphics: logograms, determinatives, and phonograms. This is going to be about logograms. Here are some examples of logograms. Logograms are morphemes. These are known as the building blocks of language. They're also known as the smallest units of grammar. This is about phonograms. Phonograms are the speech part of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. These are the parts that you sound out. Phonograms are either uniconsonantal, biconsonantal, or triconsonantal. There were 24 uniconsonantals, which is the Egyptian alphabet. The problem was that there was no vowels, such as E. There were some of them. Here's an example. The Egyptian king Ramesses, also known as Ramses or Ramesses. The problem is because there's no vowels, it's hard to understand what the thing was. But some believe it was Ramessesa. because it's derived from Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt. But it's still hard to know. Now it's time for alternatives, which is my favorite part of the project. Alternatives help you determine whether a hieroglyphic means one thing or the other. The hieroglyphic can mean two things. For example, these two hieroglyphics look the exact same, but they mean two different things. This hieroglyphic means surface of the water. It's an ideogram, which is a different level. This hieroglyphic is a phonogram. It means N or N. But how are you going to know the difference between these two if you see them in this hieroglyphic text? What's going to help you to understand? One alternative that can help you is called the logogram indicator. This basically looks like a single stick. It can help you determine whether the hieroglyphic is a logogram or phonogram. It can be useful. Here's some examples of other alternatives. These alternatives are used in hieroglyphic texts frequently. Another alternative that's useful is a plural indicator. This is in the name, and it indicates whether hieroglyphic is plural. Hieroglyphics evolved and became more cursive each time. As you can see, hieroglyphic and hieratic look sort of alike, and you can see their resemblance, though some hieratic symbols are combined together to make one symbol. Hieroglyphic demotic, however, look completely different. Demotic resembles more Aramaic scripts and looks nothing like their hieroglyphic origins. Hieroglyphic writing was reserved to use on monuments and mummies, and pyramids, etc., because they were thought to be special. And they're also harder to use on regular day basis because they're harder to draw and scribe. But hieratic writing soon became the new craze, if you can say, because they were used more often. But then soon it became reserved for priestly things, such as priestly writings. Demotic soon became the everyday way of writing, and was even used on everyday things such as pottery. Demotic soon overcame the hieroglyphics. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot more about ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. I know I did, and hope you use this learning in future times and take it up as a hobby.